Man and a woman, in the eyes of the law, do not have equal rights to a divorce. So I do need your help here. I can't do it by myself.
And why do I need to do that?
On paper, we're married, and that means as my husband, he has claim to all of it.
You can trust him.
I don't want to have to trust him. That's my point. The world isn't going to...
After leaving her husband and children behind to pursue a brand new life, Nora Helmer returns 15 years later to her home. She's forced to face questions about marriage, inequality, and human rights in A Doll's House Part 2. You can catch the captivating play at the CAA Theatre, and Paul Essiambra, who plays Nora's husband, Torvald, joins us this morning. Welcome. Thanks for getting up early. I know shows are late, and sometimes these shows are a little early.
Happy to be here. I
didn't expect to laugh as much as I did. A period piece about gender inequality, and here we are laughing.
Oh, we got some feminists making up stats right
now. Yes. Well, but you laugh, yeah. The laughs that come typically, there are some gags that are kind of funny, but...
Ladies and gentlemen, please put on your tinfoil hats now, because we are about to once again take a journey into the magical world of conspiracy land. That's right, you may have heard tales of the mythical wage gap or the spooky, scary patriarchy.
But for the most part, I think the laughs that come are a response to a highly emotional or highly volatile moment, and you need to have a little bit of an emotional release. So the playwright has very craftily snuck in moments where the audience can just kind of release that tension that's been building, breathe, and then let's tackle the next big issue.
Hey, fellow white guys. It's about to be a new year. And there's a few things we think you could do a little bit better.
100%. So this is A Doll's House Part 2. Yeah. And people may be familiar with Ibsen's play A Doll's House. You don't have to see the first one, but maybe a bit of a setup required so that we get to that starting point of 15 years later.
Yeah, you really don't. That's one of the most common questions that we get is will I understand it if I haven't seen A Doll's House by Ibsen, the original classic play? And of course you'll understand it. This is a play that was written and structured as a standalone piece. If you have recently read or recently seen the original A Doll's House, then you might get a few deeper layers, a few other references, but it is a completely standalone play. You won't miss anything if you haven't seen or read the original. The only thing you need to know is that at the end of the original, Nora leaves her husband and children. She leaves her family, which was a revolutionary move for women at that time.
Hooray! Hooray!
The amazing thing is, Nora, she's talking in that time period, late 1800s, or probably about turn of the century at that point, that in 20 to 30 years, there would be no longer gender inequality. And here we are, 100 years later, and we're still battling this. So it's really relevant to audiences.
It's completely relevant. I mean, the phrase that keeps coming to mind for me is the old French expression, plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. It's the more things change, the more things stay the same. So, in terms of gender equality, gender politics, women in terms of their struggles with laws and rules and society, I mean, we've made huge leaps since 1894. Of course,
we've made huge leaps since 1894. Of course,
but we have a long way to go.
What do you think that the biggest issue facing women today is?
Misogyny.
How is that represented?
At this march?
No, like in your day-to-day life, like how do you feel the effects of misogyny in your life?
Well, everywhere. You go to, I mean, we got catcalled last night walking to Hollywood Boulevard. So, I mean, it's everywhere.
We got catcalled last night walking to Hollywood Boulevard. So, I mean, it's everywhere.
But we have a long way to go.
And let's look at the facts. If we look at the facts, who lives 5 years longer? Women do. Who constitute the majority of homeless? About 95% of the homeless and rough sleepers. Men do. In all these different areas, who constitutes about 79% of the suicide rate? Who makes up who gets sentenced for longer times? Men do. It's hard. Who gets less funding on healthcare? Men do. It's hard to find one area where women are disadvantaged in relation to men.
But we have a long way to go.
You're assuming. I'm a lady.
Really? Assuming. Really? You telling me you're a lady and you sitting here coming up on me screaming?
Why can't she do
Look,
that?
it's a free world. You want 50-50, aren't you? You want 50-50.
I want the whole fucking
need to kill all men. I am sick of being a baby factory that produces more men that will just, in the future, subjugate me. So the only answer to that is to kill male babies and just kill any man that you see, like in the streets, like any swinging dick, just kill him.
But we have a long way to go.
We do.
That's why it's
this
still
will
relevant.
have people thinking about that as they leave.
And first of all, I think the word feminazi is offensive to Hitler.
Welcome back to The Flow.
You have a single set which requires incredible acting and incredible chemistry between the four of you on stage, and it's there. It was easy for me to recommend that. Do you feel that you're working with these amazingly talented people?
Absolutely. Oh, these three women are absolutely incredible. This is like the Christmas gift of all Christmas gifts for me as an actor. When I realized what the casting was, that I would be working with Kate Hennig and Deb Hay and Bahari Iragi. These are three phenomenal women and three phenomenal actresses. And so, yeah, it's just a delight for me every night.
I don't know if you understand jobs, but they pay you by the inch, by the penis, by the shaft.
Oh, I could talk to you and all of them for hours and hours, but I definitely recommend this one. March 23rd to April 14th, running at the CAA Theater. Don't be scared by period piece. This is as relevant today as anything out there, and really well acted. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for being here this morning.
It's gone far too far, and most people would agree with that. But I'm not just talking about Me Too. I'm talking about a whole range of areas where feminism has gone off the rails. Feminism started off about equality, about promoting, men and women having an equal playing field, and then now it's all about rules and regulations to advantage women at the expense of men. Constant male bashing, false accusations of violence being used to destroy men's lives, women denying men access to their children. There are endless rules in our society now which are about demonising men. And my call is to the mothers of sons to say we have to look at what's happening to our boys. We have to look at what's happening to the men we love in our lives. That women have been given so much unfair power to destroy them if they like.
That's why it's still relevant.
People thinking about that as they leave.
Well, one of the things they told me was that he was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, And he started to laugh. He said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Why am I an idiot?" He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded Women's Lib, And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before Women's Lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think